Hello there guys, Fang here. Okay, what the hell happened to Dynasty Warriors 9? That's the question I want to ask Koei Tecmo at this point, because I don't know. I really don't know. Alright, so this is not going to be a review per se. You know, for these types of games you do need to put in a substantial amount of hours. I've put in about 25 hours so far. I'm only halfway through Shu's story. There is a reason for that, and I'll discuss that a bit later. So this is just going to be more of an overview of what the game's like, performance issues, optimization issues, gameplay issues, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. We're going to be talking about the PC version, and I think the first thing I'd want to talk about is the price. I mean, I'm actually really surprised not many people are talking about this, but the price for the game, for the PC version, is £55. That's a lot. That's a lot. Even for AAA standards, that's a lot. I think the only other game that I can think of at the moment where the price was that much was Battlefront 2 for the standard edition, and that was £55 as well. I mean, it's actually technically 50 quid at the moment. It's got 10% off on sale, but even so, when that comes off sale, that's going to still go back to 55 quid, which is a little silly. Now, I mean, don't forget, I don't really play that many AAA games, so, you know, this is kind of new to me in that sense, because I don't really play that many AAA games no more. I play mainly indie, but even so, that's still a lot of bloody money. Especially for something that we know for a fact is going to have a season pass, that has got a season pass for £25. And to be quite honest, looking at the season pass, it don't look like it's going to be value for money at all. I want to compare some of the prices of some of the other games. Some are AAA, some are, I think, AAA, but either way, it's just showing you like the difference in prices from the beginning of 2017 to now. So we have Prey, that was released back in January 2017. Price of it, $39.99. And now we've got Shadow of War, released back in February 2017 at £45. Also has a very shitty microtransaction system. Shitty loot boxes, shitty. And then we have Call of Duty World War 2, which was released back in 2017 for $44.99 squidders. Also has a shitty loot box system. Yay! Next up is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, 40 quid. But because Ubisoft loves being Ubisoft, they charge us 50 quid now. Hooray! They did it with For Honor 2, the bastards. And of course, just to rub our nose in it even more, you can get it cheaper for the PS4 and Xbox One. Because of course you can. Okay, so when I downloaded it, I thought, cracking, let's have a good bash at it. So I started it up, and I thought I best plug in a controller, because I know for a fact these types of games are not very good with keyboard and mouse. So I stuck my Xbox 360 controller in. Now, bearing in mind that on the Steam storefronts it says full controller support. It says it right there in black and white. Yeah. And guess what? My controller didn't work. I was like, So, looking on the forums, you know, seeing if anyone else having trouble. Yeah, pretty much everyone else having trouble with their controllers. Not just the Xbox 360 controller, it's the Xbox One, PS4, even Steam controller. Apparently it's... You've got to have the Steam overlay enabled, which is fine, because most of the time, most people do have that enabled. But even so, it's really stupid that you have to do that. It's just really weird. It's not proper controller support. It's just emulated controller support, which isn't good, because what happens then is if the controller does work, which, you know, is like a 1 in 10 that it does work, then your shoulder buttons won't work, and guess what you need to do majority of the games with? Yes, you need your shoulder buttons. Oh no! So for the first 2 hours of the game, I was trying to configure the controller, trying to get the damn thing to work. It wouldn't work, so I thought, sod it, I'll go mouse and keyboard. So the one thing I will give credit for with this is that you can now remap some of your keys on the keyboard, which is good, because whose ever bright idea it was to put the bow attack on the down arrow direction, well done, you deserve a cookie. So I had to remap that tab. I had to remap a few of the other things. The only problem was some of the really more annoying things, like trying to skip certain things. They are hard coded to buttons, like J for example, and it's just annoying. It's just really damn annoying. The only way I could set waypoints on the map was to press J, when it really should just be, you know, button press. You know, like I think my main button press was like on the left mouse. It wasn't doing it, so yeah. Oh, and to add insult to injury, the game only has Xbox prompts. Because of course it does. Which, to be honest, wouldn't normally be a problem if it wasn't for the fact that controllers don't fucking work. Well, on the plus side, I did eventually manage to get my controller to work, although it wasn't my controller that actually got to work. It was actually my daughter's. My daughter's got like a rock candy version of the Xbox 360 controller. It worked okay with a bit of configuring with the Steam overlay stuff. You shouldn't have to do that. It should work straight from the box, and it doesn't. And that saying full controller support. Okay then guys, let's talk about the performance now, and bearing in mind this is mainly for PC version, although the console versions I've heard just as bad if not worse. So let's crack on with this then. So the game is now open world, which means, you know, you can go to anywhere in the world at any given point. That's going to be a bit more taxing on resources, so it's kind of expected that the performance to be obviously lower than a majority of the other previous Dynasty Warriors games. Don't forget, in the previous Dynasty Warriors games, you have stages, and there's obviously less stuff to load in there, so you kind of expect it to have a bit of a performance dip. However, I'm going to show you my specs on the screen now, and even with those specs, and I mean it's pretty decent. I think the only thing that really that might affect it might be the memory, because it isn't as fast memory. But even then, my memory wasn't the thing that was actually being maxed out. It was my GPU and CPU, not so much CPU but more the GPU. It maxes the GPU out so much with this game, and yet it doesn't look that great. I mean, textures are okay. I've seen worse. I've also seen better, but I've seen worse. You know, this is also all on medium. I had to take some things off, like shadows and depth of field, because I'm not really that keen on those kind of stuff anyway. And yet the game is just really demanding. I was barely keeping 60 frames. Even in cutscenes, I was barely keeping 60 frames. And when I was streaming this game, you could tell that it was struggling to stay above 40 in most cases. And when we go into big battles, oh my god, it dropped down to 30 in some cases. It might not seem that big of a deal, but bearing in mind there's not that much better cards than the 1070. There's like a 1080 and the Titan and the AMD equivalent. That's pretty much it. So unless you've got anything more than a 1070, you're gonna have trouble running this at a consistent frame rate, or at least I should say a comfortable frame rate. A lot of people now are more comfortable with 60 frames than 30 frames, although, you know, there are some people that can play games at 30 frames. That's fine as well, but just bear in mind, if you do want higher frames, then if you've got a lower graphics card, a lower CPU, you're not going to run this very well. And that's the sad truth, the sad reality of it. Also, I have noticed that in certain areas, and you probably will see it in this video because it happens about 2 or 3 times in this particular gameplay segments, but there's some really odd slowdown. So you'll go into a castle, and even though it doesn't feel like it's tied to the frame rate, combat will just seem to slow down. Like, moving will be like at slow-mo speed. I have no idea what's causing that, but it's really obnoxious. You know, it's actually in some cases nauseating to watch, because you're going at this slow-mo speed constantly while you're trying to fight, and it's really off-putting. I've not seen anyone mention this on the forums or anything, but you know, it just seems weird, and I don't know what to make of it. Alright then, let's talk about the gameplay now. Alright then, so combat first. Combat's okay. It's okay in this one. There's no longer the old square, square, triangle, square, 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 triangle kind of combos you could do in the previous ones, which I actually do miss. I do like those, but you've got more of a simplistic flow attack, which is basically a button mash until the enemy die, which is so. You do get different animations and attacks depending on what the enemy is doing, whether they're knocked down or whether they're stunned or whatnot. And if you're using an officer's favourite weapon with an EX weapon, then you can actually do their like special attacks. The one thing I do find a bit odd is that there's no, unlike in Dynasty Warriors 8, you have a move list that tells you that shows you how you can do your certain moves, as well as your certain EX attacks and Mousus. There's nothing like that in this. There is the tutorial that attempts to show you how to do some stuff, but it doesn't really tell you how to do EX attacks. And because everyone has a different EX attack and they have different ways to trigger it, it's actually really difficult. I haven't even found Liu Bei's yet. I might should do Wei Yan's. Wei Yan's is actually really fun and really easy to trigger, but that's the only one I've really found the EX attack for so far, which is unfortunate. Also, the AI, they seem dumb. Now, I know Dynasty Warriors AI are dumb anyway, but I mean, like, this is like dumb. This is like dumb times 10 dumb of dumb. It's that dumb. And before anyone starts saying in the comments, you're not playing it on hard or chaos, yeah, the reason why I don't play it on that is because it just turns them into bloody bullet sponges, and you know, you easily get one-shotted, which normally I wouldn't have a problem with. Especially in Dynasty Warriors 8, I used to love playing on Chaos in Dynasty Warriors 8, but the big difference between that and this game is that Dynasty Warriors 8 ran at 60 frames per second all the time. This game doesn't. If it dips, or if it does the stupid slow-mo thing that it does, and you're gonna get hit, sometimes it's just difficult to react to it because of the frame rate drop. It's that bad. So no, that's not the reason at all. The AI is just dumb. They really need to be more aggressive. In fact, I would like what I would have thought they would have done this time around is have two separate difficulty settings. So you've got your normal, very easy, normal, hard, chaos, and then a separate setting saying passive or aggressive or really aggressive. That would be fantastic. I think that would be a really good way to go about doing that. But nope. Changing the difficulty, just change them to bullet sponges, and it's just not fun. It's just not fun. I'm fed up of games that only change the health and the attack with the difficult setting. It should be how aggressive and stuff they are as well as other little things. But you know, that's it. Right, so some of the new additions as well is the ability to craft, to hunt, and to fish. So I want to go through these individually. So crafting, I actually kind of like the crafting. I know a lot of people hate it, but at the end of the day, this is an open world game, so they have to put something in it. Which I know it doesn't really sound very appealing, does it? That's because it's not, but being able to go around and gather shiny things and being able to craft stuff is quite nice, you know. It's a nice little gimmick and I don't mind it. But I've got to say, the hunting and the fishing, oh my god, the hunting is bare bones. Really fucking bare bones. I mean, I don't even know if they have AI, these bloody hunting these deers, these tigers and stuff. They just seem so dumb. It doesn't help with that bow. Oh my god, that bow as well. We'll talk about that in a bit, but because that's basically in with the hunting. But yeah, the hunting is not fun. Not fun, especially with the way it's set up on the PC, because what I have to do if I want to hunt is I have to pull the bow out, and then I have to use the mouse, because thank God the mouse actually has decent sensitivity this time round. I have to use the mouse to aim, because you can't use the right analog stick, because there's no proper, what's the best way to put it, with the analog stick. So normally if you only slightly press the analog stick right, you go very slightly right, and the more further you pull to the right, the faster it goes to the right. It doesn't do it in this game. Not with the current setup that I've got. It just does it at one standard speed, which is really fucking annoying. It makes the bow really unusable. And it makes hunting a pain in the arse, unless I'm actually, you know, meleeing them, which is probably going to be easier for the most part. The fishing is boring as hell, but the fishing is probably the easiest way to get money in this game, because if you go fishing, if you just, you know, AFK fish for about 20 minutes, you're going to be rich as fuck, because the balance of the fishing is stupid. You can gain a lot of money by fishing, which, to be honest, money is not really used for that much. But the good thing about getting a lot of money is that you can actually go to the trader and you can actually buy the resources that you need to craft the things that you want, which is kind of counterintuitive, because the game kind of wants to try to reward you for exploration by going to get these crafting materials, and there's no point to it if you can just buy them outright. Okay, so let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is the grappling hook. Oh my god, what was the what was they thinking when they added that? I mean, here's the thing, right? I'll give you a scenario. You're on a map. You got to go and siege one of the walls, and you've got all this siege weaponry, and you want to basically try and defeat the troops outside, so the siege weaponry can advance, and then you will have the siege ladders which you can go up, and then you have the battering ram, which will try and batter through the doors to try and get through after a certain time. Yeah. You don't need any of that, because once you've got this grappling hook, which you get straight from the get-go, you don't have to craft it. You get this on every single character. It's a main mechanic of the game. You can grapple hook over the wall. You can go straight to the entrance. You can take apart the piece of wood that's holding the doors together, and you can open the doors, and that's it. There's no need for siege weapons. What a fucking shit idea that is. I mean, no, it's not a shit idea. It's a very poorly implemented idea. Because what's the point of trying to go through all these troops, trying to get all this siege weaponry so as that you can get through the wall, if you can just press one button? I don't know. They must have been high when they thought, oh, I know. We got all this siege weaponry and stuff. You know, we've got all these cool mechanics that, you know, go very nice for each other. You know, if they want to go and break into the castle, they've got to try and get all this. What else shall we add? How about a grappling hook? Excellent idea. Now, don't get me wrong, right? The grappling hook actually does have a few uses other than that. If you're in a castle. And bearing in mind, some of these castles are bloody huge, and they're very hard to navigate, because, I don't know, but they are very hard to navigate, and the grappling hook does help you to get over some of these stupid walls and stuff. The problem is, one of the major things with the old Dynasty Warriors is that the levels were set in such a way that the game kind of encouraged you to defeat certain troops and certain officers, so that you can get enough experience, enough items and stuff to be able to then take on the final boss. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could just some of these you could just skip anyway. You can go straight to the main boss. That was always something you usually able to do. But in this game, you're just rewarded only going straight for the boss, because the level design is just not that good, because you could just grapple hook over anything, well, most stuff, and you can just straight to the boss and say hello, and then just, you know, stun lock them to death, which for some people that would be okay because they want to try and get through the story. I know I want to do that because the story mode takes a very long time to do, especially if you want to do it with different characters. But oh my god, I just don't know why they added it. It's just, what I would have done with the grappling hook is I would have made it either a craftable, or I would only have it in certain scenarios where you would actually get this grappling hook. Or what I would do is, if for example it is an area where you got siege weaponry, maybe have it so you can still grapple hook over the wall, but if you go to open the door to let all the other troops in, there's an ambush unit there. I mean, that seems so simple, like a strung ambush unit. That seems so simple to implement, but yeah, no, I'm just gonna go over there, go to the door, lift the wood up, open the doors, there you go, go straight in, mate. It defeats the entire purpose of, you know, trying to push forward when you got this grappling hook. I don't know. Oh, here's a good one. Let's talk about the weapons. So Dynasty Warriors 8 had some bloody wacky weapons. I will definitely say that for a fact. It had some wacky weapons, but they decided this time round to go with the old, oh, we're gonna go for the era classic weapons. We don't want any of this, you know, this, we don't want no fun weapons like tonfas or claws or sword and hooks or anything like that. We don't want, as Zhao sees, cards, talisman cards. We don't want nothing like that. We want it, you know, more realistic into the era. And, you know, they tweeted that last year. I can't find the tweet now. I tried to find. I tried half an hour on to try and find this bloody tweet, because I do remember reading it, and I can't find it now. I don't know if it was archived anywhere. But oh my god, when I read that, I just thought, what the fuck are you doing? And then once they started revealing the characters, and when I saw that, you know, some of these characters hadn't got their iconic weapons, I was like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And I think it made it even worse, the fact that some of these characters have the same weapon. I mean, the only thing they've got different is like their moveset and some of the attacks. That's it. It's stupid. I don't know why they've done that. And they can't fall on the realism excuse, because, you know, there's magic in this game. There's fucking magic. Magic's not real. Yeah? And I'm pretty sure Zhuge Liang's fan isn't a very realistic weapon. You know what I mean? So you can screw that out the window. I'm pretty sure tonfas were used back in them days. Well, back in that era, I should say. I'm pretty sure tonfas would have been used. So tonfas feel more realistic. And they got rid of most of the ranged weaponry stuff as well, like Zhou talisman cards and Zhu Shu's sword and hook. Oh, Zhu Shu. Oh god, I'm gonna tell you about that in a bit, because I'm fucking fuming at that. I'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, and I'm just gonna be really pissed off if, because in this season pass that they've got, it says there's a weapons pack, and there was an interview last month to one of the devs of the game, and one of them was saying, are we going to see some of these wacky weapons back? And their answer was yes. So I'm going to be really fucking fuming if this season pass has some of these iconic weapons that apparently they took out because of realism. I'll be pissed off. one of the features that I absolutely loved in previous Dynasty Warriors is the fact that it's co-op. You can split screen with friends and family, and a nice good old couch co-op, hack and slash. Yeah, that's gone in this installment. That's actually something that a lot of people are not talking about as well, because that kind of what makes the game fun, being able to play with someone else, you know. And you don't get that now because there's no co-op. You know, my son was actually really disappointed when I had to tell him that there's no split screen on this one this time round, and you know, it's a shame because this would seem a lot better if it did have co-op, because you could have like yourself going to fulfill one side mission, and you can have your co-op partner fulfilling one of the other side missions at the same time. That'd be fantastic, but no co-op. So yep. Right, let's talk about story mode. So story mode is a bit of an interesting one this time. So what they've done is, in previous ones, when you played story mode, you usually play that character's story, or in Dynasty Warriors 8, you'd play a set of different characters while you're playing the story, depending on what happened and whatnot. However, this time around, what they've done is they've made it so that you play until that officer's death, and then once that's happened, you have to play on a different officer. Now, what this means is that if you want to change characters, which you probably do want to do because it can be very boring just playing the same officer over and over again, especially with how bland the moveset seem this time round, you actually get penalised for it, because you have to go back to where the officer started from. And I just don't understand that. And this time round, officers unlock as you play through the chapters, but if you unlock an officer halfway through the chapter and you want to play the officer, you can, but then you'd have to start that chapter again from scratch. Doesn't make sense. And some officers, oh my god, some officers I am not happy with. So one of my favourite characters from Shu is Zushu. I've loved him in Dynasty Warriors 8. He's probably my favourite character, as well as Zoushi. But I really wanted to carry on the game with him after unlocking him with Lube. So I'll go back. I don't mind playing through this chapter again just to see, you know, if I can carry on playing with him. Anyway, it turns out Zushu only has 1/3 of a chapter. 1/3 of a chapter. Now, bearing in mind, Zushu, he doesn't have, you know, he doesn't really do that much in Shu. Yeah, he helps with the 8-gate formation. I said 9 on my stream. Yeah, the 8-gate formation. He helps Lube out, and then he goes over to Wei because of his mother being sick, and basically so using that to his advantage and whatnot. And yeah, he's basically forced to serve him in that regard. I was expecting a story around that, but no, you play for 1/3 of one fucking chapter, and then you get an ending. Says, oh, now he serves Wei, but he doesn't tell him how to get stuff. No. It's so disappointing. Now, if I want to keep playing with Zushu, fucking hell, I can't pronounce right. I have to play with free mode now. I can't play story mode and try and do that. I have to play free mode. I kind of hope that they add more stuff in the expansions, but even so, that just leaves a horrid taste in my mouth. Some other characters only have a few chapters as well, which, and I expect some characters to have that, but it's just disappointing. It really is. I mean, why couldn't I have played Zushu in the wayside of things, like for the Battle of Chibi? I mean, he plays quite a big part there. Why couldn't I have played him on the wayside? You know, I think Zhang Lao has the same problem. I mean, he starts off on Lubu's forces for the first few chapters, and then obviously he comes over to Wei. You don't play him in the others. You only play him in Wei, and you start like chapter 4. What? The way they've done it is, it's sloppy and it's lazy. It really is. just going to quickly go over the open world aspect of the game. So the problem with the open world aspect of it is that it just feels really empty. I mean, you can go and gather ingredients, you can go fishing and hunting, that's fine, but you know, there's not enough there to keep you exploring. The game wants to try and reward you for exploring, but there's just basically no real need. And you know, it's unfortunate, because the one thing I think that the open world has done is you can see how the battles play out on a much bigger scale now. And you know, while those battles might not be as fun as the certain stages that you got with the old Dynasty Warriors, you can actually see how big of a grand scale it was. But that's the only thing that it's really got going for it. Most of the time, you won't want to explore. You'll just want to use fast travel as much as possible. And, oh, God forbid, the UI in this game. Oh, my God. Whose idea was it to have treasure info so as you can look for the ingredients that you need, and then not have a key to show you what ingredients is where? You have to highlight each one individually to say the name of it. Duh. That's like, basically, if you're after one certain crafting item and you don't want to pay for it, you want to go out and look for it, it's going to take you 5 minutes to try and find one, because there's no easy way to do it. There's no search bar. You can't search for a particular ingredient. You have to go through one by one to see what ingredient is what, and it's just bloody annoying. Bloody annoying. Alright then, so the soundtrack for this game is fantastic. You know, I've always loved all the soundtracks in all of Dynasty Warriors. It's just cheesy metal, and I love it. It's fast paced, it's energetic. I mean, I even listen to a lot of these soundtracks outside of playing Dynasty Warriors. It's just that they're just that good, and this one's no exception. This one has some really nice tracks, although I must admit I haven't heard all of them yet, but from the ones that I have heard, I've enjoyed and I've liked them a lot. But let me just say this, right, the voice acting is abysmal. It really is. It's not, I would like to say that it's so cringe that it's good, but it's not. It's so cringe that it's cringe. It's not great. Some voice actors are okay. Some can grow on you, but a lot of them are like, no. And that's for the English dubs. And I mean, apparently the Japanese and Chinese ones aren't much better, but at least they're more passable than the English ones, from what I've been reading. So overall, I'm not sure I'm going to be coming back to this. Not yet anyway. I want to wait until there's at least a few optimization patches. And really, the only other concern that I have, as I said, is more the open world stuff. There's just not a lot to do. And what there is to do, it just isn't worth it at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, the combat's still fantastic and whatnot, but it just feels like they made it open world for the sake of just saying, oh, it's open world. You know, there's more negatives than positives about this game being open world. I would have, if this was just all stages, if they basically copied a majority of the Dynasty Warriors 8 style with the new characters and the new combat system, and even maybe having some of the crafting system with maybe even a revamped ambition mode, I think I would have preferred that, to be honest. But I am going to remain optimistic. Hopefully Dynasty Warriors 10 will add a bit more to this open world kind of feel, add more to it, more stuff to it, have it more fleshed out, because, you know, this is just not that great. Alright, before I wrap this up, 1.01 patch for the PC. What the fuck is this? What? The first patch note. We've basically took Chinese away from the Chinese players. Sucks to be Chinese. Why would... What? The game is based in China. Why would you remove Chinese language? What the... I'm trying to get my head around it and I just can't. Your first patch note should say fixed optimizations with game, fixed FPS issues with game, fixed controller support so it supports it fully. Not, oh, we've removed Chinese because ha ha. Oh yeah, you've changed you've sorted out the fix with the PS4 analog stick. Fantastic. What about the rest of the controllers? You know, the other ones that people do use would be nice as well. You know, maybe make it actual full controller compatible and not this emulated shit that you're shoving down our throats. Would be nice. Maybe even just some, you know, keyboard prompts would be nice. But no, it's too much to ask. Too much to ask. They've got to remove that Chinese first. They've got to remove those Chinese. And then they wonder why their comment section is full of this. You know, it's like the executives there. They're just so our game's doing mostly negative on Steam. What should we do to bring that even further down? And then someone in the boardroom says, maybe we should just remove Chinese, you know, since the game's based in China. And then he says, oh, fantastic idea, put that in the next patch. Okie dokie then, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Please let me know if you like these, like, in-depth analysis types of videos, because I have kind of enjoyed doing this. It took a while, but if people enjoy them, then let me know and I might do some more. Alrighty then, guys, so I'll see you next time.